All right, let's go ahead and see which game we've got for today's weekly wager. Ooh, and it will be TSM versus FlyQuest. It's a ghost pepper hot sauce.
Yeah.
Where's Kobe? Where's Kobe? Where ain't Kobe now? Where's Kobe? Where's Kobe? He was here earlier today. Kobe.
Welcome back to the LCS. We're going to get the payoff to that weekly wager from Kobe here, just on the other side of this pregame segment. Yesterday, FlyQuest were unable to overtake Cloud9 in the battle for second place, and now they'll look to defend their spot in third against a surging TSM. Now, despite suffering that loss, FlyQuest had a rather competitive game against Cloud9.
Right. They had some unusual picks with the Yasuo bot lane and the Irelia at top, but they were doing really well with that up until they didn't. And sometimes that just happens in games, right? You think you're a little better at the champion than you are, or someone isn't where they are, and then you get punished for it, but they looked really strong.
Yeah, they knew they had to kind of snowball with that team comp, and it was like a play where they were feigning a dive top that just kind of got turned around on them, and the game fell apart from there, but they were making a lot of good plays over the course of that game. And obviously, C9's a super good opponent. TSM's been playing well, though, and Zven and Smoothie in particular in yesterday's game crushed CLG.
Without a doubt. I think the point on Champ Select is interesting for FlyQuest just because it shows continued willingness to be flexible in the draft. We've already talked about Viper playing anything from a tank to his signature pick in Riven. And then, of course, now we've got things like the melee bot lanes for FlyQuest. On the flip side, again, you're taking a look at Smoothie, who picked up player of the game just yesterday with his Thresh. Absolutely dominant in their victory. And so the bot lane is going to be very interesting to track in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool matchups. I think the bot lane one's really cool, especially when you consider Zven, one of the best traditional marksman players, does have one Cassio game, but not really what people know him for, whereas WildTurtle sometimes goes crazy. Last summer when there was that meta where you could play whatever in the bot lane, he was definitely one of the guys playing a lot of stuff. And I think it's interesting there, as well as the top lane, obviously, Broken Blade versus Viper.
Do you think that Sven's kind of proficiency on marksman might stonewall the FlyQuest bot lane, though, in their attempt to go for something crazy like a Yasuo or Irelia in the bot lane?
Well, I feel like if you're going to pick a Yasuo or Irelia, you would do it into a traditional marksman because you'd have a lot of practice playing versus those guys, right?
Okay.
But when you do like a Yasuo versus Irelia bot lane, how many times have you really done that in practice for you to know that, right? And I think something cool in this matchup is that FlyQuest have been trying to tell themselves that, hey, we can be the superstars on our team, such as Pobelter and Turtle. And now Pobelter's versus Bjergsen, one of the quote-unquote superstars of a team. And if he can do well versus that, then he'll be able to make a case for himself of being a superstar. And Turtle gets to play against his old teammates, too. And hopefully he can do something with that.
Yeah, I mean, Pobelter has the most player of the games for this team, actually, and he has been super good so far through the season. Bjergsen's a tough opponent, but we know Pobelter has taken Bjergsen to task a couple times over the course of when he was on CLG in the finals, as well as his Team Liquid days. So I think, Pobelter does fine against Bjergsen in North America. He has absolutely no trouble matching up against him.
Yeah, plenty of history between these two players. And again, the story for FlyQuest this whole year has been about picking up co-stars, guys who have long been co-stars on their rosters and never necessarily the main focal point. And yet they have come together so well alongside rookies like Viper to really be a team that seems to gel. And I think that a lot of their success can be pointed to specifically their willingness to do things together and commit to those plays.
Right. Even with Santorin, I've always felt he was a really solid jungler throughout watching him. He's always been a top-tier jungler for me, and it never seemed like he got the spotlight he deserved among many other members of this team. So it's just a question of what do these guys need to do for them to cement themselves as a superstar or a player that can carry teams?
And I think part of that mindset also helps a lot, where you're not seen as the superstar. A lot of them don't have as big of egos as some other players in the league do. And I forget who it was in preseason, but they're like, who on this team is going to be a source of tension? Like, who's not going to be the guy willing to go the extra mile for a teammate and give something up so someone else can carry? When you have a lot of players like that, who are also very good players, anyone can step up at different times. And we've seen that with the Riven in the top lane and the Yasuo in the bot lane. So I actually think that works really well in their favor.
Without a doubt. And of course, we just saw behind them on stage is Invert, their coach. When we had the conversation at the top of the day around Coach of the Split, Rookie, and MVP, he was one of the first names that we threw out there. I think a new face to maybe a lot of LCS fans, although he has been around the competitive scene for quite some time in both collegiate and academy, as you were explaining, Mark. But it's been really cool to watch, again, the band of co-stars in terms of players under the tutelage of a coach who doesn't necessarily have the pedigree of, say, a Reaper or a Zix or somebody else, and yet they're still performing at such a high level.
Right. All 5 of these guys and the coach, I don't have a single thing that I dislike about them. Usually at some roster, I can look at someone and be like, hey, I dislike this about him. But I look at these 5 guys, and I like all these guys. They have great personalities. They're very good teamwork players with each other. And I don't have a single negative thing to say about them. And I hope moving forward into summer that they'll continue to work together and get better.
Of course, there's that little voice in the back of your head, though, when you look at this TSM lineup and the way that they've kind of been surging over the last week or two here is that, you know, as Zale was saying, to me, when I look at the individuals on TSM, this is a top-tier team. And I fear the moment where they turn it on in the middle of the season and actually start playing like more than a sum of their parts.
Yeah, I mean, after beating TL, you can try and chalk it up to like, oh, TL had a weird draft and Smoothie played especially bad, whatever. But then the CLG game is like, okay, this is starting to get a little crazy. And if they're able to beat FlyQuest, I think they're really throwing themselves into that conversation as potential finals candidate. And I mean, they've done it through a number of different ways, especially Smoothie. Even in that TSM game, it wasn't a very heralded play with all the other things going on, but his roam up to force the flash out of impact was huge. And then, you know, last game, obviously, we've done plenty of praising for just how important he was.
Well, the stage is set, and both of these teams have looked fantastic through the first half of the 2019 spring season. It's time, though, for us to send it over to the casters, where Kobe has a certain spicy manner to attend to. So, Captain Flowers, I trust in you. Don't let me down as we get into Game 4.
I got you, Dash. No worries. My name is Clayton Captain Flowers Reigns, and a few weeks ago, my co-caster, Sam Kobe Hartman Kinsler, was part of a weekly wager where he bet against a victorious FlyQuest. Now, High and Mark Z already paid their hot sauce debt, and today, the bill has come due for you, my friends. So without further ado, let's get to it.
God.
Look at that presentation.
I really don't want to do this.
I know, but that's why this is so
It's
fun.
gonna burn my mouth so
It'll
bad.
be great for me and everyone in the audience. Listen to him.
Smell that. Smell that. Smell that. Kobe. Kobe. Oh, shit. Get back in there. There's so much on it.
Oh, just take a big bite. You got this. Let's go. There it is. There it is. All right. Now that we've gone through with the pregame ceremonies, let's take a look at the starting rosters. On the blue side, we got TSM. Broken Blade will be up in the top lane. Akaadian in the jungle. Bjergsen mid. Zven and Smoothie bot and support. And Coach Zix. All right.
Choosing the red side. It's FlyQuest on the red side. Viper is the top lane. Santorin. Santorin plays jungle. Mid lane, Pobelter. Bottom lane, Turtle, support, JayJ, Coach Infer.
Well done, Kobe. Well done. Couldn't have said it better myself. Could not have said it better myself. And we already stated on the desk, today is a battle for third place. As yesterday, FlyQuest competed with Cloud9 to see if they could catch up for second. They fell short there, but this is where they can prove they still belong at the tip top of the table, going up against a TSM that has been looking fierce.
I mean, they beat TSM last time. That's why I'm eating hot sauce right now. They beat him in the first place. Aurelia banned out. A Viper used that. So, talk about champions,
Okay,
bro.
yeah, we got some champions coming in. Hot and spicy, just the way we
Oh
like
my
them.
God.
All right.
They didn't eat as much as me. There's no way they ate as much as me.
All right, we've got the Irelia and the Yasuo banned out by TSM, taking away some of those potential non-traditional bottom lane picks that we saw the desk talk about. Lucian banned out by FlyQuest, so they're going to take out one of those more traditional picks that they also said we might see Zven on. Got removed by FlyQuest. How are you doing?
I'm doing so bad. So bad.
All right, I'll keep talking. Thresh is going to be the next band coming out from TSM. We got to see Smoothie pop off on it yesterday, but today they're obviously not looking to reprise that performance. Over on FlyQuest, they got 15 seconds left for their final ban, and I hope you have at least that long left.
Whose idea was this to
your
do it
mouth.
during game? Bad idea. Bad idea.
I hope.
All right, got
survive.
banned out. Cassiopeia is still up. That's a really high priority pick.
Ezreal and Lucian both banned away, though.
Jayce could be jungle.
Jayce picked up. Yes, we saw the jungle Jayce earlier today. We'll see if that ends up going towards the jungler. Maybe we see it in the top lane, as is tradition. But that's the first pick over to the side of TSM, getting that powerful early game champion nice and early. How does FlyQuest want to respond? Viper has been known to play some carries in the top lane. Might get to see some carry action. We could see the Malphite. We already saw that too, but we are going to see the Nocturne start things off here for Santorin.
Yeah, that's good. Hard engage if you see some poke. Jayce is a poke champion. Zoe is up, so Bjergsen could go more poke. So
you have poke, and more poke.
Hard engage is always good with that. Broken Blade played the Jayce last time. They split push with it. That wasn't the big issue though. It was the Smoothie thresh in the bottom lane. Everybody remembers them hooks.
All right, it's going to be Alistar instead, getting some front line there. Poke's not going to mean that much if it's always colliding with the meatball. At least that's the way FlyQuest is looking at this one for now. TSM, next couple of picks coming up are theirs. They at least have a little bit of information now as to what their opponents are planning. I want to see what they complement this Jayce with, because they did pick that champion very, very early. It looks like they're going to go ahead, unclog the frog, unload the toad, uninhibit the ribbit, unbench that Kench, lock him in for TSM, as Varus will be the other pick, making sure they pick up both elements of that bottom lane.
All right, Varus can also be played as a poke champion with Q maxes. Woo, bringing back that, but FlyQuest looking like they're gonna take the other one away. Zoe pickup here for Pobelter has been really strong for him so far this season. One of his better champions, getting FlyQuest most of their wins. When does this wear off? I feel like I'm just gonna stick my tongue in the milk.
It lasts
I'm just gonna leave my tongue in the milk for a while.
Okay, Kobe's gonna leave his tongue in the milk for a while, and why he does that, I'll go ahead and cover for him. So expect some expert analysis coming up. That's not Skarner that they banned away on the side of FlyQuest, so I can't comment too much on that.
100%
so
accuracy.
I am accurate on that ban. Olaf banned away, still Skarner up and available to pick for either side. TSM 10 seconds before they have to lock that next ban in, and there's a Malphite that Kobe mentioned earlier that we might get to see. But that one will be taken out by TSM. They don't want to deal with that initiation potential, that big literal rock in the top lane. FlyQuest, what do you got? What's it going to be? Still having to look towards the mid lane and potentially the jungle position, but also the top, as Jayce could be jungle.
There's two basic choices now. You can go with a different tank, even if Malphite is banned, and try and weather the Jayce storm. That one, you need to try and CS, build armor like Darshan did yesterday on the Jarvan, and then play for later. Or Viper can go for a kill champion with Nocturne, level 6 Nocturne, you go for the kill on the Jayce, trying to get behind that way.
Like a Riven. I would love to see a Riven, but I don't know if we're going to get to see that here today. Yorick and Zach banned out now, the final two bans here of this game. Over on the side of FlyQuest, what's it gonna be? Hovering the Xayah, thinking about that. Sivir also been a pick that we've seen some popularity from recently. Not sure which one they're going to go for, but still a lot to choose from. Only really the top tier picks of the Ezreal and the Lucian banned out. The Sivir will be locked in. Turtle can definitely pop off on that one.
Personally, I like Sivir against Varus because of the wave clear early, but then also you can spell shield the ultimate really easily. If he doesn't throw down another spell right on top of it right beforehand, Sivir should be able to have defensive options here.
Yeah, the projectile from Varus' ultimate, very slow, very telegraphed, and you should be able to spell shield it. Action.
Spicy pick here, Flower.
I am so
It's coming in with the possibility of stealing Nocturne
aimed.
ultimate. If you steal Nocturne ultimate with Sylas, converts the AD ratio to AP, and it's
You one-shot
huge
somebody.
damage. A Sylas Nocturne ultimate, it happened a couple times in one of my games, is actually insane. You completely one-shot that.
You're just a ballistic missile at that point. You're flying in, blowing somebody up, and the final pick over onto the side of TSM is the Sejuani, which means the Jayce will not be jungling. Broken Blade will be piloting that one into the top lane.
So once again, we talked about it yesterday, but Sejuani and Jayce could work really well together. When he goes melee form, stack up the stun. So even if Viper decides to go with an offensive pick on the top side, they have to be worried about this 2v2. Oh!
Ooh, there we go, Camille.
Calling it.
Locked in for FlyQuest. That's what I like to see. Matchups where we're going to get some kills. Camille versus Jayce in the top lane. No meatball extravaganza today. No Scion, no Urgot, none of this.
And we got a turbo cleave comp from FlyQuest here with Nocturne, Camille, hard engage on the back of Alistar, Sivir speeding everyone up and shredding people. The idea behind it is your full offensive pressure with everyone trying to attack and dive the enemy team. allows Sivir to play forward even if she doesn't have the strongest front line.
TSM, there's some pretty decent front line over here. You've got the Sejuani, which will constantly be tanking things up. Sylas can be a pretty effective frontliner. We've seen a lot of builds be very tanky on him, even when played in the mid lane. Yesterday, we saw Niski on Cloud9 when they defeated FlyQuest to go for a Rod of Ages into Iceborne and Spirit Visage build, so very hard to kill him there. And of course, Tahm Kench can keep everybody alive as need be with that Devour. If Smoothie plays anything like he did yesterday, I'm sure he'll be on point with those saves.
Smoothie has been insane so far, and him on Tahm Kench opens up their mid-game options. The idea is to have your Jayce get ahead early, split push, spread the map apart, and Tahm Kench there, Smoothie, give him the options to go from lane to lane, attacking people as they're spread out. They do have to worry about the Nocturne ultimate though, turning off the lights, negating some of the teleports, and collapsing quickly.
All right, we're loading into game now. Both these teams sitting at a spot halfway through the split where they could be one of those top contenders, where they could be a force to be reckoned with up there with Cloud9 and Team Liquid. But what better way to prove it than taking down the other side? You can hear the roars of the crowd. They're excited for TSM. A squad that never fails to draw some fans here into the battle arena as they're out on the Rift for game number 4 of the day. 5 versus 4, the record for both these sides. Just barely going positive, wins over losses in that first round robin. Looking to make a more impressive showing yet here in the second half of the split. As Broken Blade and other members of TSM, both the jungler and the mid laner there, going to be stepping into enemy territory, flexing nice and early.
Yeah, we got the Scuttle Crab wards down, so they'll be able to see junglers move into the river. Generally, you're going to have to wait for the Nocturne to give away his path. I like this deep ward. You see TSM stuck into the jungle here. Put a super deep ward on Santorin's red buff. Ooh!
Oh, Bjergsen jumping in there, grabbing some cheeky damage onto Pobelter. Follow-up from the bottom side of TSM also means they're going to get POB down to about half health.
Yeah, that sends a message. You establish dominance, but also 1 minute, 15 seconds into the game. Feeling pretty good. It's actually the
Let him know.
The milk is really working. I'm just gonna every time I stop talking, I'm just gonna leave my mouth in this milk, and it's actually taken away.
That is his handle on Twitter, by the way. So make sure you send him plenty of words of encouragement at RiotKobe.
Oh yeah, while we're selling out there, hit up the Instagram at Lol Esports Kobe. Or no, wait a second. Just Esports Kobe. There you go.
Yeah, Instagram at Esports Kobe, showing him a picture of you eating a super spicy chip with hot sauce so that you can show that you stand with Kobe. We would appreciate it.
Meanwhile, that ward we were talking about, Santorin's red buff there, did see him, so they know that he's going top side. So you can see Sejuani here, Akaadian already slipping in to take the top Scuttle Crab, and Sejuani should be able to control pretty much the entire early route here. That early ward down onto the red going to give them a lot of vision.
Easy Scuttle Crab take for Akaadian. Stun it up, beat it down, smack it around.
That's the Sejuani Scuttle Crab wrap.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like it. Nice and easy recipe to some jungle vision. Meanwhile, I really liked how a lot of the mid laners have been playing the Sylas. You saw Bjergsen going super aggressive there. They take the Aftershock. They've been going the semi-defensive route with a semi-tank item early on to be able to go in for these trades, sustain with the Corrupting Potion, and control the wave a decent amount for the early game while they wait to scale up to get lower cooldowns on their ult.
But of course, going up against a champion like Zoe, not the best, considering her ulti's not that useful for Sylas. At the same time, we've seen her pop off in quite a few games so far this split. The champion has absolutely ridiculous damage as long as she stays farmed up and decently relevant.
And quite a few of those games were Pobelter himself,
Yes, sir.
POB. This guy has started off spring 2019 so incredibly strong. People are doubting him. They've doubted him so many times. Every time he does well in the North American LCS and then heads to an international event, has a couple of good games, and then starts to fall off. People lose a bit of faith, but he's shown back up very strong. Kind of a resurgence year for him in 2019.
Bottom side, Turtle will be shoving up this bottom lane with JayJ, making sure that Zven and Smoothie are stuck under the turret for now. As you already mentioned, the Sivir pick into the Varus. You can shove him in early. The wave push of Sivir makes it so what is normally a lane bully in the Varus isn't quite on that front footing that he wants to be.
Yeah, they pretty much have to wait for junglers scum down bottom if they want to get any action, because Tahm Kench is going to deny a lot on the side of TSM. Meanwhile, Spell Shield and Alistar very good defensively for FlyQuest side. And it's actually a pretty clear route there for Santorin to try and fast farm up to 6 on the Nocturne and look for that play. And I would think the play would be top side because we set it up in Champ Select. These two top laners, both carry top laners. They want to get to split push viability. And split push viability is a key checkpoint that a lot of these key top lane champions have to hit at least one item. And oftentimes it's like 1.5 where Trinity Force plus the Tiamat for the likes of Camille or something like that, where you can have control of the wave, but also have the power to get your one-on-ones. But here, Santorin's first to the party, Akaadian right behind him.
Santorin thinking about going into top lane, but as soon as Akaadian shows up, he doesn't want anything to do with taking that fight further. The wave has built up pretty heavily for the side of TSM, but bottom side, Zven who's in some trouble. Smoothie keeping him safe with the Devour, gonna be stunned up now himself. Turtle will not be able to find the rest of the damage there. Comet flies out with a piercing arrow, finding a little bit more damage. Flash into the auto attack, and WildTurtle will take first blood. Meanwhile, topside is Akaadian having to get himself away. Broken Blade looking to come in, back his jungler up. Instead, the jungler's already down, and Broken Blade heads home. Not looking too good. Santorin wants to chase this one down. No flash available on the Nocturne, but does manage to tag him with that spooky path.
And these have been two of the quickest and bloodiest teams in the North American LCS in 2019. Right up there with Cloud9. FlyQuest are the ones that come out swinging this time around, though. And Turtle with the flash forward. People flame him oftentimes. And just yesterday on the Yasuo, making so many aggressive plays. But this time around, JayJ makes the initiation. Boomerang Blade comes over, guaranteed damage, ignite as well. And then, after the Devour spits him out, Turtle's waiting on his cooldown for the next Boomerang Blade. Boom! Hits that one dead on. As soon as he saw the confirm hit on the backswing there, he flashes in for the auto. I really like how he didn't do it early, and he's able to finish off the kill there, even though Zven tried to get out. But then topside, Santorin and Viper both also playing aggressively, in tandem, flashing forward, getting the kill for themselves, and forcing it off of Broken Blade.
You can go ahead and tweet us at LOL Esports. Let us know what you think are the biggest plays of the game, biggest plays of the day with the hashtag LCS Big Plays. Or you can probably also just let us know if you think Kobe's having a good time yet. I know it's not gone, but is it at least better?
It's definitely better.
Okay.
I mean, it was actually insane at the beginning. The milk definitely helps a lot. So PSA to anyone out there trying to do one of these ill-advised bets. First of all, I say don't do it.
No, all you gotta do is get the bet right.
And second of all, you definitely need to get some milk around for you. But it looks like we have hit level 6s for the mid laners here. And now I'm actually gonna look who is gonna get the roam here. Both of these mid laners can have a very big impact if they get the push on the minion wave, so he can get bubbles over walls. And we've seen the impact of Sylas slipping in with all of his mobility, trying to steal an ultimate.
Oh yeah, especially if it's a big high value ulti. As you already mentioned, you've got Nocturne, which has a super desirable ultimate to steal away. If Bjergsen can manage to get himself that one from Santorin, could be used for some serious playmaking here on the side of TSM, especially once you get the ultimate enabled for your other big initiators or crowd controls like Akaadian, like Zven. Bottom side, we're gonna see Smoothie and Zven midway through the lane now. Turtle finally dings level 6. But considering his opponents are pushing up, they've got the wave, no reason to force any kind of a fight down here. Also no eyes on where Akaadian may be at.
Yeah, take a look at their surrounding vision. I mean, the control ward right there on your screen for TSM. TSM pretty much have the full clear route there for a possible gank. So FlyQuest playing back off, not extending themselves. Oh, and look, we do have the Serrated Dirk on the recall there for Zven. He's going with a more poke-oriented Varus early on that we were looking for. Comet going to land that extra damage. It synergizes super well with the Jayce. So TSM will have two lethality-based AD poke champions fairly early in the game. That's one of the things about both Jayce and Varus. They're basically operational as poke champions with a basic ability max and a little bit of lethality.
Nice little trade there coming out from Pobelter onto Bjergsen, waiting and holding the Sleepy Trouble Bubble until he knew his opponent would be able to juke it very easily. Means he can set it up with the follow-up Paddle Star, but yeah, considering they have double lethality poke champs on the side of TSM, it just makes early armor imperative for the side of FlyQuest to make sure you're not losing half HP to those arrows and shock blasts.
Plus the fact that the first Drake is an Ocean Drake. Anytime you're against long-range champions like this, Derm team the... Ooh, never mind. We might have level 6s. Let's get some action.
Viper realizes what's going on, and now they're going to be bringing the fight to TSM. As soon as Viper gets his back up, they're going in, and Santorin's making sure they've got the third kill of the game.
They're simply winning the 2v2s here. FlyQuest and TSM on the same timing, but Santorin is able to get in there and enough burst damage with the Camille and Nocturne. They just put out way more burst damage in a 2v2 scenario. They can down a target first. They keep going after Broken Blade. Camille ultimate is able to knock him away as well for a bit of a delay there. And FlyQuest have been winning the skirmishes on top and bottom.
Winning that 2v2 gets Nocturne a nice coupon for a free crab dinner as well, securing him a little bit of extra control in the top side of the river, making sure he's got some extra money and experience in his pocket. Bottom side breaking pretty even here. We're not seeing the 2 versus 2 Zven and Smoothie complete pop-off that destroys the game in 20 minutes like yesterday.
Yeah, quite the contrary. Very good play from JayJ and WildTurtle thus far. TSM have been able to recover easily in the CS though. It didn't get them down at all. And Zven down there on the bottom side actually does have a slight and marginal lead for himself. He's going back. The other positive thing about going lethality build for Varus is you can go back for purchases on most timings and feel pretty good about it because you just pick up a bunch of long swords. But we'll see if it actually does result in the early dragon, because as we said before, this is an Ocean Drake, and Ocean Drake is the best, bar none, versus a poke composition like this. Even if it's only half poke, right? If there are a couple of long-range champions like that, you want to be able to back off and regenerate. So you can tell why they're using all these early control wards around the dragon. They really want to set up. The first one's going to be so big.
And especially the way that the Drakes work now, the way that they are more heavily weighted towards the first Drake, just getting that first bonus can go a long way for the side of FlyQuest to make sure that that's not going to stick as hard.
The first Ocean Drake is actually worth twice as much as the second one that you would get.
Pobelter fires off a Sleepy Trouble bubble, but now he's the one that might be in some trouble. TSM going to be sending in the mid lane. Pobelter has to try to get himself away, popping the flash to make sure he escapes fire, and the Paddle Star back. Not connecting on it, but gets himself away.
Yep, he does have to use everything, does get away, so TSM should look to try and continue to attack that point. Both summoners down on Zoe. Zoe is a fairly low mobility mage, I consider her, because even though you do move a bit with your ultimate, going right back the point where you cast it can definitely be easy pickings for the enemy team. Viper is able to go in for that stun, but it's pretty risky.
It's a good stun there. Tries to get himself away from the accelerated shock blast, but Broken Blade's aim is true. Viper's going home.
Let's see if he can get to the Sheen at least to add that burst damage, because if it does continue to come down to 2v2s in the top side, if they build into more burst damage for their combo with the Nocturne and Camille, I do continue to see those 2v2s going their way. Currently, he's actually building more defensively. It looks like he wants to survive lane more, because Broken Blade, with his completed Ghost Blade, has really been dishing out the harassment. And this is the kind of early power spike where it's double Ghost Blades on both of those early lethality users, and TSM might try and exploit that.
And look at the price point comparison between getting the items that are going to be effective for you when you compare Jayce versus Camille. Ghost Blade, you can rush it. It costs 2,900 gold to complete. For Camille, you need to get the Tiamat first. That's 1,300. Then your Trinity Force is another 3,700. That's 5K before Camille's feeling comfortable, in the same way that Jayce does at 2.9. So really good spot right now for Broken Blade. Feeling good potentially about these 2v2s, but as you already mentioned, they haven't gone so well for TSM so far. Santorin cleaning up that red buff and hovering topside still, just in case TSM wants to attempt it again.
All right, looks like Bjergsen is also going to go the Rod of Ages scaling build here a little bit for Sylas in the mid lane. Generally, he's going to try and get a cooldown reduction item after that. I personally really like the Zhonya's, but we shall see, since he's against Zoe in lane. Might go for something magic resist related instead, although he will have to do with a lot of AD threats later.
Absolutely. Camille, Nocturne, Sivir. And the worst part is you can say, well, yeah, it's 3 physical threats and 1 magic threat, but that 1 magic threat can 100-0 you if she lands a bubble. So very, very concerning when you are one of those melee champions who have to put themselves in more danger. Zven and Smoothie continue to farm up here on the bottom side. That farm staying dead even between these two. When you look at the solo lanes, though, it's about a 20 lead for the side of Pobelter over Bjergsen, an equal lead for Broken Blade over Viper in the top side.
And equal footing as far as the vision around this Drake, too. You can tell nobody wanting to overextend here. If we look a little bit further into how this match is going to play out in the next couple of minutes, you expect a big Nocturne ultimate to come through. They're actually going to use it now.
Bottom side, there they go. Smoothie looking to keep his AD carry safe yet again. Has to spin him right back out. Zven getting himself away, firing off the chains of corruption. Smoothie taken nearly down, but not going to be saying sayonara just yet. The piercing arrow comes out, but nobody's dropping today.
Really really, really big chunks on both health bars of both supports here with the bottom side. But TSM live through the Nocturne ultimate. It is at the cost of both bottom laners' flashes, though, and that might weaken the team fight around this dragon.
Turret plates, not super impressive this game. 1 plate taken by each side. Yesterday,
Might be a whole
TSM
turret.
took all 15 plates before 14 minutes, so they're not going to have nearly as much gold in their pockets this time around. TSM and Akaadian working on taking down that first turret of the game there in the top side. That'll do wonders to help them catch up from this 2,000 gold deficit. Bjergsen not finding the stun there onto Pobelter. He might be in a pretty bad spot. Pobelter does have the summoner heal on the W. Gets himself away back towards his lane. Doesn't want to continue the fight any further.
Yeah, he hit the bubble, and then Bjergsen fell asleep right as he was trying to dash over the wall. So Pobelter got to land a bunch more poke on him afterwards. But again, Bjergsen turns around, goes in for the heal off the W there, and is able to get a lot of it back for himself. Plus, Corrupting Potion topped him right back off for the mid lane.
Stopwatch check-in, as I like to normally do. Top lane, mid lane, support for the side of TSM. Over on the side of FlyQuest, I
Good
can
habit.
see one in the jungle. Yeah, considering these items often dictate so much about early skirmishes and fights once they come online, it's my #1 important thing in the inventory to track. Yeah, Ghost Blades are cool. Sure, I like Rod of Ages. Okay, Tiamat. But stopwatches change the game.
Especially as a jungler, if you're looking to dive people,
Yeah.
that's the first thing that you should have. Just kind of build it into your daily routine. Check the tab menu, see who's got stopwatches and when they're coming online.
Nobody's still made a play for this Drake yet. 15.5 minutes into the game is a pretty long time for the first one to still stay alive.
Yeah, we were expecting a little bit more early action with how well FlyQuest started out. But look at the top lane. The tower's about to go down from this Jayce, so I expect TSM actually to be the one to pull off the rotation here. They push the minion wave in. Turret money is going to go a long ways towards equalizing their combat effectiveness for this dragon. They already have earlier spiking champions and items like we talked about. Even though they are down in gold and miss out some of the kills, FlyQuest are kind of scared to post up around the dragon when if you get hit by one Jayce arrow as well as one shock blast, or one shock blast as well as one Varus arrow, then that will be 75% of one of the champion's health bars early on in the game. That's why TSM have been able to really retain some semblance of control here in the early game, even despite the early FlyQuest kills.
FlyQuest thinking about maybe making something happen here. They got 4 people around, but they don't want to force anything. Bjergsen does have a level 2 Nocturne ultimate available for himself, so next team fight we should be able to see that burst potential that you were talking about coming out from him with that one stolen away. I wonder, can I look at the tooltip and see how much damage it'll actually do? All right, he's getting 74 extra damage on it from his AP, because he's not super AP heavy, because he went for the Rod of Ages.
Yeah, he's got a couple of rings there, and the rod at 4 stacks at the moment. Still, I feel like it'll be a big moment to watch. In general, Nocturne Ultimate, regardless of what build you are for Sylas, is an amazing ultimate to steal. It's definitely one of those game-changing ultimates. Turning off the vision for your opponents for one of these team fights is so big. Plus, Sylas is already such a mobile champion. It makes him even more of a threat than Nocturne himself. It's one of those things where you steal Nocturne's ultimate, you're actually a better Nocturne.
I'm a better you.
It's actually a better Nocturne because Sylas also brings more mobility and chance for re-engage.
Dashing away from the paddle star there, keeping himself safe against Pobelter. And FlyQuest lead still exists. It's very small, and the one thing I'm going to be watching this team do as we approach the mid-game is not make the same unforced errors that we saw in their match yesterday, where they were ahead, they were doing pretty good, but then their over-aggression got the better of them. They got a little bit too big for their britches. They tried to go in for some fights they shouldn't have been going in for. They got caught out. We saw Turtle dashing in, being shut down by Zeyzal taunting on the Galio. So this time I want to see a little bit more tempered aggression. I want to see some patience when FlyQuest does decide to make something happen. Mid lane is Bjergsen going in with the paranoia on the Sylas. Gets put to sleep. The paddle star comes back out. Zoe tries to make it a pretty even trade, and it will be so.
Yeah, I guess that was way less climactic than we thought it was going to be. With the Sylas going in there with the semi-tank build. He does get hit with the Sleepy Trouble bubble on the way in, and so that's why it kind of broke up a lot of the possible combo there. And as you're saying, Zoe pretty slippery, but here's the real Nocturne.
All right, he's saying, you did it, I'm gonna do it now myself. But it's a 3 versus 3 bottom fight. Akaadian shows up, not gonna find his charge or his ulti. Missing that one on a WildTurtle, but still looking to go further, even more into this fight as the TP will be used. Broken Blade coming in, and Accelerator forward to Shock Blast down to JayJ. Zven makes sure he gets him with a piercing arrow, and that is 1 for 0 TSM.
And TSM are able to combine with both of their lethality champions. Zven chases that one down. He's also completed the Dust Plate at this point. So that big burst damage was definitely prevalent there. We have the Shelly activation, so they want to get the Rift Herald, and then I would imagine transition into this Ocean Drake that they want to get off the field.
They're trying to defend this turn as much as they can on the side of FlyQuest. They will manage to keep it alive just barely. Viper's made his way into bottom lane with a TP, but 5 members of TSM still here. Means that it could be hard to make something happen. They found the Sleepy Trouble, well, they found Broken Blade, but the stopwatch is going to buy him a little bit of time. That's why I tracked that item, Kobe.
Definitely came up big for TSM there, but even just that catch, the Sleepy Trouble bubble there from Pobelter makes sure TSM don't get the dragon. Because Broken Blade was far away from the rest of TSM, the entire team had to turn off of the dragon, come back to save him, and Smoothie gets him out with a Devour, but that does kind of delay still this dragon. We're almost 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah,
and,
no Drake.
The Ocean Drake's still alive and well. I'm sure that the Drake is happy about that one, but both teams really eyeballing it.
Ocean Drake's doing okay, but bottom side.
So, Nocturne Ultimate number 1 didn't get much in mid lane. Nocturne Ultimate number 2 also doesn't get much bot. Santorin having to flash out afterwards. Akaadian tries to drift around the two other frontliners there and hit the backline with the ultimate. Doesn't quite get it because there's not a possible angle there. But again, the Jayce speed gate there is able to give Zven speed as well as Broken Blade. Really nice use to get that buff onto both people.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times Jayce will just apply it to themselves, but that was a very key activation for Broken Blade to allow that kill. And now TSM are back out onto the Drake. They've been able to reset and they should be able to take it.
All right, Mr. Dragon, your days are numbered. You lived for almost 21 minutes.
He had a good run!
5 seconds shy. F in the chat for the Ocean Drake. He tried his hardest.
Bobby!
But it was not enough. I'm sorry, Mr. Dragon. We will remember you. Play the Sarah McLachlan sad songs. It's a sad, sad day in the bottom side of the river, but it's a happy day for TSM. They've managed to get themselves the Ocean Drake, which means more mana regeneration for the poke. It means no health regeneration for their opponents as that poke lands, and it means it's another thing going into their pocket to make this game pretty much even. It's only 1,000 gold apart. There's only been 1 turret taken by both sides, and we're averaging, what, a kill every 5 minutes? The game's pace hasn't been very fast this time.
It has been a decent amount of fighting, but most of the fighting has been around placements of these wards and just waiting for Nocturne timings, whether it's a Sylas Nocturne timing or it's an actual Nocturne timing for going in on these ultimates. And I'm fairly excited for how this game plays out because there's a lot of possibility for cross-map play, right? We've got both teams opting for split push solo lane champions. Jayce and Camille have very similar goals. Camille now at her breakpoint, the Trinity Force Tiamat that we mentioned early on in the game.
She's finally feeling good.
Finally achieved here for Viper. So we'll see what FlyQuest have to say about it, as TSM very happy to get this Ocean Drake, and now they could transition into Tahm, Kench, plus Varus in the mid lane, and use the threat of Tahm, Kench for their side lanes to really empower the Jayce and Sylas's split pushes of their own.
Worth noting that Bjergsen also picked up the Iceborne Gauntlet after the last fight, so he's got more spell weaving power, activating those, getting the slow fields down, along with the fact that he's just got more armor and cooldowns too. The stats on the item, fantastic for what they're going up against on the side of FlyQuest. Over on the Zoe, you can see you have the typical mage heavy cannon build with the Luden's Echo into the Oblivion Orb, into the Sorcerer's Shoe. Was the staple for a long time on every mid lane AP champion. After the nerfs to Oblivion Orb, it didn't make it a mandatory build any further, but if you're looking to just one-shot somebody, chunk someone out and send them home, still a very effective build path to take. Pobelter just keeps on shoving these waves up, wants to clear things out, continue farming up. WildTurtle on that Sivir. 2 items now completed, Infinity Edge and Static Shiv. Plenty of AoE, plenty of crits, but you still want to see 3 items before that Sivir really turns on.
I feel like I'm happy with 2.
Don't settle, Kobe. You deserve better.
Fair enough. I should set higher standards for myself.
Yeah.
So personally, though,
yourself.
when I'm playing Marksman, I get to a Infinity Edge and Static Shiv. Now with the Infinity Shiv giving its own crit once again, and Static Shiv having that super good synergy with it, the feeling of your shock just AoE critting everyone and having the super big crit feels super good to me. Turtle's got incredible AoE right now. being able to operate the W as well as Q and Static Shiv proc. So that's a very big amount of power for a clumped up team fight. The problem is it's going to be kind of hard to navigate those because FlyQuest, they still want to have Viper on the bottom side, and it's more about their 4-man squad and the Alistar protecting WildTurtle and giving him room to work with.
Stolen Sivir ultimate now for Bjergsen. Always worth keeping track of which one he has tucked away, ready for the next team fight.
Exactly, and it's really good to steal an ultimate early for Sylas. Then you wait for yours to cool down, so you can look for more.
For those not aware, Sylas's cooldown on when he can recast the ultimate does not depend on when you cast the opponent's ultimate. It depends on when you stole it. So making sure that he has that ready to go means he can pop the on the hunt as soon as we start the fight, and then potentially again after we get into it.
So right there, they landed the Varus ultimate on Pobelter, but they knew that he had cleanse, so nobody really jumped on it, and Pobelter also held on to his cleanse. In the end, they also threw out the Sejuani ultimate, but the goal there was the tower, and TSM knocked down another one. All outers now taken off the field. That is always objective #1 for these types of situations.
Correcting misinformation there for a second. The actual Sylas ultimate cooldown does not begin until you cast the ult that you already stole. However, it does lower the cooldown against that specific person, so it will mean he can steal the on the hunt again
That's
sooner.
that circle you see under Sivir right now?
Yeah, that's the circle. The circle is shrinking. The Sylas ulti cooldown isn't quite ready yet. Misworded that one, so had to make sure that I wasn't giving anybody the wrong advice here, as on the hunt is going to be popped now up inside of TSM. Bjergsen making that one happen, and now you can see there that cooldown timer started, and we're working down from 40 seconds.
All right, moving over to the Drake. See if Cloud Drake will fare any better than Ocean Drake did. TSM look like they want this one too. They're setting up around it. And I think that FlyQuest are not going to be able to get into position in time to answer. They do have a teleport on Viper, but it's so risky since TSM have done a very good job of clearing out all the vision around this Drake. And it should go over to them.
Still only that one Drake taken, so not going to see a ton of them this game. Elder Drake will not be as big of a buff as we've seen him be before in some previous matches, but with TSM going down there, as you said, should be pretty good for these guys to take. FlyQuest just hanging out on the back foot for a while now. Seems to be pretty content farming things up, waiting to scale. Santorin will walk down, only to see that Drake, having already been taken, walks himself over the Speed Shrine. He has a Guardian Angel on this Nocturne. He's got another stopwatch in his inventory, so he's ready to make those big, completely haphazard dives where he can throw himself into the middle of everyone and not worry about the punishment. Turtle pushes up here in the mid lane, got JayJ next to him. Spell Shield onto the Piercing Arrow, well timed there. But FlyQuest can still not find themselves any more outer turrets.
Yeah, they're definitely on the back foot here. They don't have a lot of territory of their own to work with, so they're trying to put up defensive vision mostly and just keep their lines of income open. If they don't get their jungle camps and minion waves denied during this kind of risky timing for them where TSM has the extra control over the neutral ground, then that will be considered a win for them. And there you go. Now they've hit the Captain Flowers breakpoint of free item Sivir. And definitely very, very willing to have the 4-man squad chase someone down. What FlyQuest are looking for is splitting the map with the Camille. You want to stretch out your opponents, and then Zoe Bubbles constantly can get fired off. That is a very low-cost ability with a very low
low risk, high reward
cooldown as well. So you should just be, fishing with them, throwing them off, not really risking much when you're looking for those picks. If one of those lands, they have the perfect follow-up, a Sivir boosted Alistar, and a Nocturne ultimate charged right at the person who's sleeping to really give them nightmares.
Zven has all 3 lethality items now completed onto this Varus. We're talking about WildTurtle hitting a big power point for himself. Zven also at one of those, but remember, as the game goes on, if you have one of those traditional long drawn-out team fights, a crit AD carry will vastly outperform a lethality champion that only designed for poke. So TSM need to make sure they're playing these fights correctly beforehand and not just getting into that straight-up 5v5.
One caveat to that is that if the enemy team doesn't have a super tank, a main tank that you have to get through, then you can still have a super big, impact with the lethality one. I'd say Alistar is the main person that Zven is going to have to get around. Oh man, he actually takes a big chunk there.
Luckily, the Sleepy Trouble bubble was blocked up by Smoothie, who wasn't too worried about himself being dove on. WildTurtle. Honestly, if Turtle got a Ricochet with a crit, he probably could have just killed Zven if he was slept. Of course, Smoothie would have stopped it with a Devour, but still,
Yeah.
lots to worry about.
I mean, there have been stories written about 6-item Sivir, and the stories are all true. So it just gets better from here. You were looking for your
Tales of old.
3-item, crit multipliers. Those are all available, and Turtle are gonna be happy to continue building on that one. I would say very similar things for Camille versus Jayce. Camille continues to scale incredibly well, as a 1v1 threat, whereas Jayce has most of the impact when you siege up and you're trying to land these shock blasts and poke damage. Pobelter, though, under attack.
Pobelter wants to keep himself alive, flashing out, cleansing away, keeping himself back from the danger. Replies with some paddle stars, and JayJ's going in, able to start the fight off. Headbutt into the pulverized. Bjergsen's in some danger. Gonna be bursted very low, not quite taken down. Sleepy Trouble level goes flying off into the ether as Turtle looks for some more. Bjergsen goes into the stasis, keeping himself alive. Viper trying to find someone else into the back lines. JayJ still rampaging around, but it's gonna be Viper who's brought down. TSM kited out excellently.
Oh my god, who is over chasing who here? TSM go way past the turret onto Pobelter. The Zoe gets away with a couple of summer spells, but then FlyQuest over Jayce, and Bjergsen turns it around with this Sylas heal there, surprising everybody on FlyQuest, healing back up. In the meantime, that was a 5v4, and Santorin was down bottom side, takes away the turret.
Santorin bottom side at least makes the tier 2 take for another tier 2, so that breaks even. The gold is still within 500 of one another for the teams. That was insanity, though. A couple more auto attacks on either side could have changed the way things went. Let's take another look.
All right, so they go into Pobelter here. He's got both summoners. Pobelter actually uses his summoner so well. Flashes early, then cleanses after that to get out of the Sejuani stun. And after both Bjergsen and Akaadian had hard committed, we've got a Baron on our screen. It's going down.
Meanwhile, it is gone. Nothing to say or do on the side of FlyQuest as TSM make sure they get themselves the biggest win of the game here so far.
Well, that answers that. It was FlyQuest who were the ones who were over chasing because TSM were able to get the Baron afterwards, and a Baron empowered Varus Jayce composition. It's two. I see what you're going for. There's two Ghost Blades on Broken Blade.
One for each hand?
One of those is definitely supposed to be an Edge of Night, I'd say, unless he really, really, really wanted to get to that 40% cooldown reduction breakpoint. I'm gonna go with that. He wanted the cooldown reduction breakpoint. Maybe he doesn't have any in his runes. We didn't actually see all of the runes.
Is this some like weeb cosplay where you put a samurai sword in each hand?
All right, it's whatever. I'm not gonna try and save him. Never mind. It's a unique.
Everything on this item is unique.
There's no saving him here. That was supposed to be an Edge of Night.
Okay, just making sure we're seeing the right thing here. So, oh, he's Broken Blade, so he needed another one so it wouldn't be broken. But meanwhile, it's FlyQuest starting off here in the mid lane, looking to start the fight. Santorin off the side, looking to run down that Jayce. Can they find the damage? The answer is no. Viper tries to continue finding some more here, but he won't chase any further. TSM again getting themselves back, disengaging these fights, utilizing all the tools in their CC, their disengage, their Tahm Kench to make sure that FlyQuest can't get anything.
Yeah, I thought that he also already had a Duskblade of Draxar, but he doesn't have it. So there's actually zero reason one of them should not be Duskblade.
How are they on different cooldowns?
That's actually really weird.
What?
Oh, maybe, so he used one early and you can't use it while the active is going, but then...
The active's supposed to be unique.
Yeah.
They should activate together.
All right, visual bug maybe. It looks like they're timing out at the same time. So the indicator was a little bit off and fooling you, buddy.
Okay. All right.
They're still playing tricks on you.
I'm done talking about these swords. I'm just going to leave these things in the inventory and not worry about them anymore. Broken Blade, you go do your own thing with your Yumu's Ghost Blades, and we'll see what TSM can do. They have another Drake available on the field for themselves to take. They currently own the map. They're up about 2,500 gold. Pretty much the entirety of their lead consists of their Baron power play gain, which shows you how close this game was before they managed to sneak that one out from underneath FlyQuest.
All right, they're back at another turret here. Poke gonna come down, shock blast, watch out for the arrows as well. Everybody has to back off, turret is down.
Turret falls, and that means TSM has managed to take everything on the map outside of the enemy base. Now it comes time to lay siege to the walls. Often one of the most difficult tasks for a team to execute, but Baron buff is what makes it really happen. Still 45 seconds left on this one for them to continue trying to push up. FlyQuest need to defend this tier 3. They've almost got their Nocturne ulti ready to go here again. WildTurtle also having the ult ready to go. But they gotta make sure they don't get poked down too hard to start things off. It's Bjergsen popping a paranoia of his own against FlyQuest to begin the fight. Akaadian thrown up in the air. JayJ on the front line. Aftershock and ulti keeping him alive. Cannon minion continuing to fire off. Pobelter nearly killed means he has to retreat. And Pobelter in retreat means the rest of FlyQuest cannot engage in an honest fight. They have to wait until he's ready again, which means losing this tier 3 on the bottom side. But remember, you've still got the real Nocturne ultimate ready to go on Santorin. JayJ no Alistar ulti, so that weakens your front line. But can FlyQuest fight for this, or do they just surrender it for free here? It looks like they give it away, and TSM head home.
With only 4 seconds left on the Baron buff, goal has been completed here by TSM. They're able to take down that inhibitor and reset completely. FlyQuest, they're still trying to buy time and weather this storm because we're definitely in the peak performance area for lethality-based folk champions, right? If FlyQuest can push this game another 15 minutes, then they can have another opportunity to go super offensive. But currently, TSM doing a very good job playing off their power spike and getting one of the main objectives down. Getting that inhibitor is the hardest part of completing your win condition with this type of composition. And the mid tower sustained a lot of damage as well, so that'll be the next target.
One thing I want to point out about Zven's build that you see right now, he does have the 3 completed lethality items. The serrated dirk you leave in the inventory uncompleted as a final source of lethality. Yes, it only gives 10 compared to the 18 of the completed ones, but it's the only other way to get more of that stat. And when you just want to min-max, you take every little bit you can get. Smoothie and Zven looking to make the play on the Pobelter top side. WildTurtle make sure they go on the hunt, getting themselves out. Zven is gobbled up, he's kept safe, and TSM's plans are foiled.
They keep chasing Pobelter today, but Pobe will not be caught on this Zoe. He has been extremely slippery. He does get away this time as well. His turrets and structures have not been so lucky, though. Those ones have not been able to run away, and TSM have gained so much ground into the FlyQuest defenses that even though there aren't that many deaths on the side of FlyQuest, only 2 kills here for TSM, they still have the momentum in the game. They've been pushing so heavily, and they should not stop. I think they need to keep this pace up.
And the thing that honestly sticks out to me as a way to tell the tale of what has happened with FlyQuest this game is the stopwatch in the inventory of Santorin. He has had that thing so long, but has never had the opportunity to use it because FlyQuest has never started a fight where he's diving into the back line. That one big fight they had in top lane, he was the one who wasn't there.
And he even made a Guardian Angel and bought another stopwatch.
Yeah, this was bought a long time ago. Guardian Angel was his second item right after Warrior. The stopwatch was with that to make sure that he could dive in, and then FlyQuest have never had a full 5-man fight.
Now they've got another one. Viper just picked one up as well. It seems like FlyQuest know that they're about to make their stand. Those are very big playmaking items, the stopwatches. And with 2 of them for their divers on the front line, you really got to watch out for flank possibilities. So TSM have to do their homework right now, lay down some vision and cut off all these angles that FlyQuest is trying to look for.
Like the Lord Dominic's regards pick up for WildTurtle here as well. Recognizes everybody on the enemy team has some armor at this point, so that's always going to be a good purchase. Bjergsen nearly blown up there. Pobelter hopping over the wall, eats a little bit of damage himself, but not nearly as much as is put onto his opponent. Bjergsen needs to head back to the spawn platform after that one, which will give FlyQuest a little bit of breathing room here.
All right, that's exactly what FlyQuest need right now. Vision on Baron and some extra breathing room. While they've got some wards on Baron, they know that they can go for the reset, try and get those extra few purchases. But now they immediately need to get back out here and cover it because TSM can take it down very quickly.
This is what blew the game
Teleport is ready for
wide
Viper.
open earlier and made it so TSM was able to take everything they've already got. FlyQuest, can you get in there and stop this in time? If nothing else, they've got to find some sort of retaliation. TSM forced off the Baron for now. FlyQuest still looking to maybe start something here. Baron down to 2.5K. Santorin's made his way into the pit. It's gonna be a smite fight. Who's going to end up getting it? Santorin going into the stasis. It's secured by TSM. Santorin's knocked into the Guardian Angel as WildTurtle is run down by Bjergsen. JayJ will look to peel him away, but into the pit continues another fight. Viper is caught out and shot down. Zven grabs the kill on that one as JayJ will continue just trying to buy some time for his allies. He'll be the second noble sacrifice, and TSM come out on top.
And they're not wasting any time. Immediate teleport back here from Broken Blade into the top side so they can push both mid and topside minions here into the turrets. TSM want to end this now.
This has to be the death knell here for FlyQuest. TSM, 5 members versus 3 for the next 30 seconds. They've got Baron on everyone. They've already got 2 inhibitors down, working on the 3rd. Minions marching towards the Nexus. FlyQuest is going to need nothing short of a miracle to manage to hold this off and prolong this game any longer. WildTurtle will need to ricochet everybody at once, but it's just not happened so far. TSM has been on point with the saves. They've not allowed FlyQuest to play their game. Bjergsen into the back line with the paranoia yet again, stealing those ults all the time. The Nexus is exposed, the enemy team routed, and TSM again victorious.
TSM are now on a 4-game win streak. Back-to-back 2-0 weekends for them. Akaadian called it.
Think of all those peasants that didn't think they were gonna smurf soon. Lamau. TSM really getting into their groove here at the midpoint of the season, and what better time? Start off a little bit rough. If you're gonna have some time to get things together, that's what the beginning of the split is for. And then just surge all through the mid and late part of the split, straight through to the playoffs.
Really nice execution there on the double lethality poke composition here from TSM. In the end, Broken Blade also traded out one of the extra Ghost Blades for his Dusk Blade instead, and they were able to finish that one off. I mean, a lot of these games still even came down to fairly close smites on Barons, and this matchup has gone both ways. Now, FlyQuest and TSM splitting 1-for-1, with FlyQuest taking one of the first one, with the Baron fight as well. So definitely very close competition. Expect both of these teams in playoffs.
Hey, at least you don't have to eat another chip. But to hear more about how TSM are feeling now, Avli is standing by with a victorious bot laner.
Thanks, Flowers. Zven, congratulations on the win. 4 wins in a row for you and TSM. Now, you guys are landing in the top 3 in the standings now. What do you think about TSM and their strengths as a team?
I think our early game has been really good, except for maybe this game. But I think we struggled in the mid game in our losses against Cloud9 especially, and against, CG. I think once our mid game gets a little bit better, we'll be really good. Because now I think that our mid late game has gotten better, but our early game today was not so good. But I think we're getting better and better.
How do you think the team stacks up to the other teams near the top?
I mean, I think against Cloud9, we played pretty bad. We had a lead, we threw it away. Against TL, we won. So the teams above us right now, we're fine against, I think. We have 1-1 against the top 1 and 2, so I feel comfortable.
So like you said, the win today wasn't as clean as it could have been. Where do you think the team needs to improve or kind of polish up?
I don't know. I think our early game is our biggest strength, but today was off. But I think in general, once we improve our mid game, like I said, I think we'll be a really good team.
Well, Zven, thank you and congratulations again on the win. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you, Avli. Zven confident around TSM's prospects moving through the midpoint of the split, calling out the fact that they're the team that's taken down the #1 in the league so far. Had a solid showing against FlyQuest here, even though the early game may not have gone entirely in their favor, but they absolutely can compete at the top end of the table.
Yeah, I mean, FlyQuest, was number 3rd. You were saying you thought they were definitively number 3rd.
I don't recall saying that.
You said that. We have it on tape. We can easily refer to this.
Yeah, we did.
Not during this segment. Hopefully they're too slow.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, TSM now takes sole possession of 3rd place, and I think certainly they have proven that they have improved massively over the last couple of weeks and can compete with the top of the table.
And I thought the drafts were pretty cool. There's almost a battle around how much poke is each team taking? Do they need that much? Because you have more poke and more frontline on TSM side, but more engage and damage on the side of FlyQuest. And it felt like they were kind of vying for pretty similar comps. And I thought the Sylas pick was a really interesting one to tie it all together because now they can take some of that engage that was on the side of FlyQuest.
Right, and we don't see too many Varuses, and I believe the last time we saw him was a Rageblade one. So I believe Azale was talking earlier during the game itself about how this Varus is going for lethality to go on top of the poke that Jayce has. So now you have the Zoe poke versus Jayce and Varus, and Jayce and Varus definitely win that poke war, handedly.
Yeah, and I think it was really smart against the composition. When you look over at the other side, there's no tanks that you have to actually worry about. Varus hits a lethality Q on any of those people, and they are going to get chunked. So I think it was an intelligent build for the game and worked very well to what they have to do, because you have a Jayce who's going to win early and lose late in a side lane. So you take that advantage early, you group, you poke, and you try to push the opponents off turrets and objectives.
And the Tahm Kench was really smart too, because you know the Camille and Nocturne are going to try and isolate a target in 4v5, but you have Tahm Kench, save that person. So I think TSM had a lot of really smart, like, one-pick adjustments into the comp.
And good adaptations, rather, in build against the composition that FlyQuest drafted themselves. Let's take a look at some of the early game action, all about that 2v2 in the top lane, where FlyQuest knows if we can set Camille up, things will get good in the side lane late.
Right, so even though FlyQuest won this 2v2, if you're looking at the tower right now, there's about 7 to 9-ish creeps that died during that fight, and Viper didn't get the kills here. So granted that there's a lot of 2v2s that were in favor of Fly, Viper isn't really ahead at all. Like, for me as a player, I feel sad because people would think I'd be ahead, but like I didn't get anything out of it.
There are way too many people that don't actually understand that. Just because you kill someone's lane opponent does not mean you put that person ahead. If they are not getting the kills, if they are losing experience and losing CS to actually do it, as you point out those minions, he loses more gold from not getting those minions than he gains from the assists. So it was actually his jungler who was put ahead from that, not him. And they were never really able to get Viper in a position where he could get isolated 1v1s against the Jayce when he was strong enough.
And to be fair, getting Nocturne ahead is still good, as well as delaying Jayce pressure. I think those plays by FlyQuest were the right idea, and you would probably take those again. I think this game was really on a nice edge around when TSM got that Baron, because you had Nocturne shadowing behind the Camille, and they were going to dive the Jayce on that play, but then Pobelter gets in a fight, both guys TP up there, Nocturne can't join in, it's a 4v5, and then because they're so slow on the reset, TSM gets a free Baron. It's like, hey, poke team with Baron, we're going to take all your inhibs now, and that was really how the game ended. It was very low kill, and they never got to utilize that split push with the Nocturne.
There are very clear game plans from both teams here, and for FlyQuest, they followed it as closely as they could. Of course, TSM gets the better of them this time around, and so let's return to that conversation around top 3 teams. Not necessarily about, you know, which of these 2 teams, or which analyst, rather, is right about the call, but more so...
It's not about the point of discussion.
It's not about it.
You're right.
It's not about us, guys. It's about the teams. Let's talk about the teams.
Yeah, right?
It's
So
a
let's
good point
move
you
past
make,
that. Zale's right. Top 3 teams in the league, Team Liquid, Cloud9, and now TSM as per the standings. But based on this surge from TSM, I think now even that conversation between those 3 teams is going to start to get more interesting.
Right, well, TSM's third out of them, right? But they've beaten Team Liquid, and they did relatively well against Cloud9. So it's an arguable statement that they could be #1, because they did beat the #1 team, and they started at, what, 8th place or something just the other week, and they climbed all the way up.
Oh, yeah, big surge.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to make that statement, certainly. I think that they are now placed appropriately. I think that they certainly have the potential to improve and get to where #1, where they actually are challenging that, but I still feel like though it was a deserved win over TL, it was TL's worst game of the split that they played against them. Cloud9, I think, has consistently looked better. So I still think TSM has some ground to make up and some proving to do before I can call them #1, but they are definitively one of the top 3 teams. They are looking really good.
And it makes the top half of the league just so interesting, because while TSM did win this game, I think we're all just saying how close it was and easily could have gone the other way. Plus the fact that Team Liquid playing against all these guys in the second round robin look more vulnerable than they did after TSM beat them. So I'm looking forward to that C9 rematch, the TSM rematch, obviously. There's a lot of big games coming up.
C9 rematch next week, Sunday, March 3rd. That's going to be a very exciting one to track, as it will be third against second place. The only other matchup I want to talk about here, again, is that top lane matchup, but more so talking about Broken Blade and Viper. We teased this as a fun one to watch. How do we feel this one played out? Because Broken Blade's second time on Jayce this week, didn't have a crazy impressive performance yesterday against Darshan in a winning matchup. Today, with all that attention to the top lane, how did he pilot the Jayce?
I thought he was pretty good. I mean, obviously you want to slam lane harder, but he still had really huge teamfight contributions. You saw high damage numbers against a team with not really any tanks. So it's not like the Ezreal damage numbers where you're just mystic shotting a tank for 5 minutes. So like he actually had a really big teamfight contribution, whereas Viper, like we said, never really got to do anything in the split push, just kind of had 7,000 damage or something.
I felt like Broken Blade played intelligently, right? You know, he was winning in the early phase. The 2v2s went FlyQuest's way, so he wasn't dominating, but he didn't really make any mistakes. And Viper never really got a chance to get the isolated 1v1s or have the Nocturne coming in 2v1s because of the way the game went. The top lane went tragic, and Baron went away the other way, so.
Right, and moving forward, I do like that the top laners are picking cool champions. However, I have nothing wrong with them just picking like a Sign or a tank as well. I don't know if I would personally pick a Camille into someone that already has a Tahm Kench. You have a lot of dive into a backline at one single target. But if the enemy has Tahm Kench, who are you really going to kill there, right? So pick your cool champions, but try and make them work for the comp and make them strong for the comp.
Malphite was banned. What do you want him to do? It was a smart ban.
And he's trying to kill the Jayce in the 1v1, right?
Right.
That's their hope, is that he starts killing Jayce in the 1v1, they stall out,
Get far
and then
enough
you
ahead.
have side lane advantage, you're taking turrets, and you're pressuring that way. But I agree, in the team fight, it was never going to be effective.
It's a tough weekend for FlyQuest. They go 0-2 against 2 of the now top 3 teams. For TSM, man, it feels good to pick up that victory. We have one more game for you this weekend. Team Liquid and 100 Thieves square off for Game 5. Don't go anywhere.
You got this. Let's go.
Comet flies out with a piercing arrow, finding a little bit more.
Flash into the auto attack.
Coming. Sivir, no flash. Where's Sivir?
Okay, nice.
It's fight by who's going to end up getting into Santorin going into the stasis. It's secured by TSM. Nexus is exposed. The enemy team routed, and TSM again victorious.